Hi, I'm Rebecca Lovingood, and this is my father, Reverend Richard Loving. I was originally diagnosed back in 1984 with Hodgkin's disease, and then I wound up also developing breast cancer due to the radiation I received from the Hodgkin's disease. I wound up with multiple surgeries, from staging laparotomies where we removed spleen, part of my liver, lymph nodes, to cracking open my chest to remove a lymph node from that was attached to my heart and my lungs. I went through originally radiation, then I wound up going through chemo, and then with the 2 breast cancers, it was lumpectomies and more radiation. So that's the treatment that I went through. I introduced my father earlier, and he was my inspiration. He encouraged me, and he also inspired me. So he was very much a part of my treatment and my life. My mother, who has passed just a couple of months ago, helped make me who I was and helped make me very independent and very self-sufficient. Then I have a brother who love him dearly, but we argued a lot, so he also helped make me who I was by simply making me stubborn. I really would love to do a call out to the physicians and the nursing staff that helped me. The Dr. Robert Mann up in Norfolk, Virginia was the person who originally diagnosed me. And then he, and Norfolk General Hospital did a wonderful job with my initial diagnosis and treatments. Then I moved down here and I had Dr. Samples and now Dr. John Cole over at Ochsner Medical down at Jefferson, who really helped me out and encouraged me and would give me a hug when I needed a hug. And then the nurses and technicians, oh my gosh, they were wonderful. They would pat me on my shoulder when I needed a pat on the shoulder, or encourage me, or sit down and just talk to me. So those nurses and the staff, when I was going through radiation, when I was going through chemo, were amazing.
I'm Reverend Richard Lovingood, the father of Rebecca Lovingood, whom we interviewed just now. Rebecca I have 2 heroes in my life, my son, David, and Rebecca, my daughter. She has been up through some terrible, terrible days. When the first Hodgkin's came down, I started a notebook diary, and I dealt with my feelings throughout the whole treatments, and it's entitled "To Fight the Shadow of the Dragon," and I gave it to Rebecca. She doesn't know where it is. But we always, my wife and I, Yvonne and I, always felt a bit inadequate because Rebecca was only home part of that time, and we did come down. She was in the Ochsner Hospital at that time, or being treated there, and we supported mainly from a distance, but our concerns were still with her, and she's, I think it's been in the personal care of God, and that has brought us through.
And this is my story. Let me tell you my story. First thing you should know about me is that I am a survivor in more ways than just cancer, so don't underestimate me. If I set my mind to something, I will find a way to make it happen. I am resilient. This goes way back, all the way back to my infancy. When I was born, I had a brachial paralysis due to trauma from my birth, which means my left arm was totally paralyzed. I luckily have regained full use of it. I had a lazy eye, and I could not run until I was 8 due to being flat-footed, pigeon-toed, knock-kneed, and my hips rotated in. After years of corrective shoes and ballet, I finally learned how to run. During the time I finally learned how to run, I was attending a public school in the San Francisco region. The school had a large portion of its students from the housing projects. I was bullied and most days had my lunch stolen by those who did not have as much. If I did not give up my lunch, then I was beat up. Now, my mother was not aware of that because I never told her. I was protecting her while my father was away in Vietnam. In the course of this time, I started speech therapy for a speech impediment and was teased because I had to go to a special class. The speech impediment was just one of the many issues that I have had to overcome with my body. But my body didn't stop me from traveling the world. My father's military assignments led us to Europe, and my love of people led to missionary work in Mexico, to work with the Presbyterian Church in Oaxaca, and meet some of the most giving and loving people I have ever met, but some of the very poorest ones as well. In my 20s, I was diagnosed with the first of my 4 cancer diagnoses at age 24. My resilience and perseverance allowed me to do what I had set my mind to doing, pursuing a career in oceanography. I would not let the cancer take that dream from me. I chased after my health while standing up to the bullies of cancer. Graduate school taught me to develop a hardcore and a laissez-faire attitude concerning the harassment and discrimination that being the only female in my field and classes produced. I had set my sights on becoming a physical oceanographer, and I was not going to let anything stop me, neither the cancer nor outdated attitudes. In between, I excelled academically, devoting my life to physical oceanography. As a civilian working for the Navy, it challenged me as I was one of the only female oceanographers when I started my career. I started out as an intern, but within 3 years I was the lead oceanographer and ended up leading throughout my career. But the cancer supplied me with a different type of reality. When people who I thought were my friends dropped away and people who I barely knew stepped up and helped, my world turned upside down. The biggest shift that I experienced in my outlook on the world was when I changed my thinking from why me to why not me? What made me so different, so special, that I would not have to suffer the pain of this world? Why should I be spared when others have to suffer disease, poverty, and or numerous other things that are far worse than what I am going through? The main takeaway for me from all of my experiences and challenges is do not underestimate me. You have it within you to make this world a place you can be proud of. Stop and smell the roses. Take time to be kind to the stranger on the street. Try something new, and if at first you don't succeed, try it again. If it is something you really want to do, you can do it.